tuning in to The Real Tea with T3. I'm your host, Tisha Harris, and I'm the team leader of Texas Trio Team. So, what is really going on in the market? That's probably something that's on a lot of people's minds. And as you step into the holidays, connecting with your family and your friends, these might be conversations that you're having. And so, we want to make sure that you're covered with an expert. So, who are you and what keeps you busy?
My name's Chris Planto. I'm with Guaranteed Rate, and what keeps me busy is helping my clients obtain the best financing possible on their dream home loan.
Excellent. So you recently have made a switch in your business. You've been doing this a really long time. Like you are an expert in the biz. And so what are the insights that you're gaining from your company as far as what you can offer them now in comparison to what you could a few years ago?
Absolutely. So here at Guaranteed Rate, I mean, really the technology is incredible. I mean, it's about making this process as simple as possible for folks, and dare I say, enjoyable to buy a home. I mean, I'm not going to oversell it like a trip to Cabo with your hand out, waiting on that next margarita, but it's a far cry from going to the dentist and getting a root canal. It's actually a pretty enjoyable experience for my clients, and with the diverse product line that we have, I mean, we've got a product for everybody out there, and our interest rates are really, really low. I'm seeing rates down in the fives right now across the board on all types of loans. And we've really picked up tremendously over the past, I'd say, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely seen an uptick in it. So it's the people that have been on the fence thinking about making a move, and then these opportunities have come up. And so it's about communication with the people that you've been talking
Hmm.
to, making sure that they're aware because everybody is living their life, working hard, doing whatever they're doing. And so it's not like they're like watching on their phones. What's the interest rate today, per se? You got to have an expert like what you're doing.
That's right. Exactly. And one of the things that I feel really, really good about lately is that I've converted quite a few would-be renters into homeowners. And what I mean by that is agents like yourself, who get contacted by a client looking to lease a property, and you prompt them, hey, would you ever like to own a home? Is that something that interests you? Yeah, but I don't have any money saved up, or, I think I got low credit, or this or that or the other. There's some barrier to entry, and we've got to find out what that is and help them see a path forward. And so I've been talking with a lot of clients, working with a lot of clients lately who didn't think the dream of homeownership was going to be a reality for them. Some, one in particular that I got approved yesterday, he was looking to lease his place is being like renovated and sold, and he's got to be out like January 1st. And so we just got him approved, and really for him it was just he didn't have any money saved, just kind of living paycheck to paycheck like a lot of, American working class. And I got him approved for down payment assistance. Now he's got 5% down payment assistance money to work with, which is going to give him 100% financing and then leave him some money left over for paying some closing costs. And then another client here recently just needed a couple tweaks on their credit. And I helped them get their credit score up from the mid 500s up to the low 600s, and we got an approval. And they'll be closing next week on their home. So just a couple of examples there. So for anybody who thinks homeownership's out of reach, I recommend that you give me a call, or a lender, but at least, don't go and sign a lease without at least exploring what's available, what's possible with home ownership, because you can literally get into a home for less than it costs to rent. When you think about the first month's rent and security deposit equal to, I mean, I get a lot of my clients into homes for, $1,000, $2,000 or so. I mean, really, it's possible. We do it all the time.
Right. And I'm sure you know that they're like the headlines can kind of come in, take over the market, take over the analytics of people like whenever they're online. So I'm curious of your honest intake and your feedback about 50-year mortgages.
So honestly, it's not something that I'm promoting to my clients. I feel like if, and this may sound harsh, but I feel like if you can't afford the payment on a 30 year, maybe you should stair step down, in the price point, rather than stretching it out 50 years. I mean, it's a great tool, I guess, for some who feel like their income is going to go up, drastically over the years. But I think it's also a way that, some folks can get kind of stuck and buried as well and just overextend themselves essentially. So I don't know. I'm a little torn. I'm a little mixed on that. I just, it's fairly new and I'm settling into it because I'm sure that I'll have some folks that'll inquire and be interested. And sure, I'll be lending and offering the 50-year mortgage, but I'm a little on the fence with it still.
Right. So, like, if there was a candidate for someone that, like, you would recommend that to, like, what would be the kind of the criteria that you would suggest it?
So I would say that I would actually say that if if you're young and and you're you're working through well, let me phrase it like this. I recommend it for young people and old people, but not necessarily folks in between. And let me tell you why. Because it's like if you're older, maybe in your 60s, 70s, you may not intend to pay off that 30-year loan anyway. So what's the difference? Take a 40, take a 50, get the home you want, live out the rest of your life and enjoy it, live it up. If you're really young, conversely, then you've got a lot, you got a long time to live, and a lot of pay increases. So if you're in a line of work that you expect to see more than just cost of living increases year over year, and maybe you want to get your kids into a better school district, and therefore you need to increase your price point and stretching out the mortgage loan to 50 versus 30 or 40, is ideal, then I say, yeah, go for it. So I don't know why I'm leaving out the 30 and the 40-year olds necessarily, but I don't know. That's a great question. I love that. I want to think more on that.
Right. So, there's a lot of people that were on the fence about purchasing the past year. I think it was like a really unique
Hmm.
situation. Us being in the business long enough, like we know that every drought ends in recovery, right?
That's right.
And so whenever this market kind of had a little tick and it was like yeah, it was like the floodgates opened and
Hmm.
things everybody got really busy. But what about the people, the sellers that have been holding off of like, hey, I've had this 4.25 interest rate, like I'm not moving, like, but maybe the market and the pricing like adjustments in certain places, like maybe what would you say to them as far as like don't hold back anymore, this is kind of what it could do for you?
Exactly. So, I mean, there are a lot of sellers out there, or a lot of potential would-be sellers out there that do have lower interest rates, and they've got a lot of equity locked up in their property, and they do want to move. I was talking to a fella, not too terribly long ago that was working out of his daughter's bedroom, and had the Barbie, sitting on the side of the desk. We were on like a Zoom call, and anyways, he's since moved. I helped him with the loan on a new home, and he's got his own office. But just kind of, you know, just loving that low interest rate. He put it off for quite some time, longer than he wish he had of. But it's just one of those things where sometimes we got to look at overall household debt. I love it when somebody's really open to me taking a look at things for them and making some recommendations. I had a client here recently that they found like the perfect home. I mean, it was like the one in a million kind of home, and it was like either this home or it's nothing. Like I only am interested in getting pre-approved and making this move and foregoing my lower interest rate if I can get this particular home. And anyways, it turned out that somebody swooped in and got under contract on it before they could put in an offer. And what I did for them was I looked at their overall household debt. Like they had, I don't know, 50 or $60,000 in credit card debt. They had run out of 529 funds for their two kids in college, and they were bankrolling that, just kind of paying for that themselves. And and they had like $350,000 equity in their home. And so I helped them understand that, yeah, you're sitting at like 4.5% right now, which is pretty good. But I mean, we can get you a rate, in like the high fives. So let's say you stair step, your rate goes up a point and a half, but you're paying like an average of 22% on this $60,000 in credit cards and and other debts and stuff like that. So I started looking at like the blended average and things like that and help them kind of see the light that it was better to sell, tap into that equity. And so anyway, they kept their minds open. We got them approved. We figured out the game plan and all that. And then, his wife just kind of kept her eyes peeled, looking at horror.com every day, and looking at all the listings, that were being sent over to her. And lo and behold, turns out there's two in a million. So they found the right home and we got them closed here recently. So anyway, long story short, it's a good idea to kind of keep your options open, explore your financial situation, and don't be married so much to that interest rate that you've
Mm-hmm.
got on your home. If you have a desire to move, if you have a need to move, to upsize, downsize, you're commuting an hour or each way to work or whatever. I mean, if there's that motivation there, and we're not just talking a lateral move down the street, across the street, or whatever, then, let's explore it and let's see if we can find a reason that it would make sense.
Definitely. And so, I mean, switching gears, you have made a recent career upgrade. And so that took a lot of, like, you had a really solid foundation of where you were and just made the decision to go another route. What has that done for you? And what did you learn about yourself during that process of going to a completely new company and what is offered for your clients now?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, I'm with Guaranteed Rate now. I'm a producing branch manager and I also originate loans. I'm in the trenches every single day. It's really empowered me to provide my clients with just the ultimate mortgage experience. I mean, I think over the years, I mean, just folks just, they want to buy a home, but they don't want a loan. I just want the home. I don't want the loan. It's a mortgage experience doesn't have to be bad. It can actually be good and it can be enjoyable. And I think it matters, the company and the individual loan officer that you're working with. And so my goal day in and day out is just to create the ultimate mortgage experience and, turn folks into raving fans. And I think I'm doing a pretty decent job of that, seeing as though I get close to 60% of my annual business from my past clients. And so I've got people coming back for repeat business, and I've got referrals coming from past clients and actually current clients in processing and things like that. So I mean, as far as the technology goes, I mean, the cool thing about Guaranteed Rate is that I mean, the company's been around for 25 years or so nationwide. One of the top lenders in the United States. So we're not just a local mom and pop, brokerage shop. We're nationwide, and I live in Brenham. I do loans all throughout Texas. So I mean, my business takes me all over. But one of the things that I love about the company is that literally, like everybody in ops, they were literally a loan officer at one point in time. I mean, even the folks that are creating the technology. So it's built by loan officers for loan officers. Guaranteed Rate does not buy package software, and then try and customize it. They literally build it from the ground up. It's proprietary. There's maybe one or two other lenders that have done the same thing that are in the top 10 lenders nationwide. But most of the companies, the company I came from, they got the systems, the tools, and then sort of spin it, and honestly, I mean the tech was just not very good at all. And a guaranteed rate, it's utterly amazing. I mean it's so cool. So anyways, I get off on a little bit of a tangent, but there's so many amazing things about the company, and our rates are so low too. I mean, just knocking the socks off our competition daily.
Okay. Well, that's really good to know. And I mean, there's always stuff that's flashing in the market of
Hmm.
like, things that we need to let our clients know and the people that we're talking to about like what their next move is. So,
Right.
it would be a good idea to just have a conversation with you and kind of see what makes sense. And then, like you said, it's nationwide. So, I mean, if you're in Texas and you want to relocate to
That's right.
Georgia or another state, you've got connections that would be able to assist them, or you could work with them to get that done.
Absolutely. I can help anyone looking to purchase, take out a loan in all 50 states.
That's great.
100%.
That's great. So, I mean, this is the time of year, that we get with our family, get with our friends, and we
Hmm.
like reflect on the positivity, the things that we're grateful for, like all the things that got us to this moment.
That's right.
So, I'm curious, like this year, like what are things that you're grateful for, like as far as like from where you were January 1st to where you are today?
Well, I'm always eternally grateful to my family, my lovely wife Amanda, and my three children, Bryce, Brent, and Bria, my parents, my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, so on and so forth. I just love family. I love spending time with family. We're looking forward to hosting them for Thanksgiving next week, and um, and then I'm grateful to Grace Community Fellowship, where I go to church here in Brenham, and to the pastors there and the elders and the folks there within the church. And I'm just really grateful for my team as well. The folks that I work with day in and day out. We truly enjoy working together, and we have a lot of fun. And it's just it's so cool. I'm so grateful that I chose this profession 23 years ago to be in a position to impact lives the way that you and I do on a daily basis is just so amazing. I mean, really to be a part of somebody's journey to purchase a home, to experience the dream of home ownership. I mean, whether it's that first time home buyer or, that repeat home buyer. I mean, it's just a joy. It really is. I just thank God that I made some decisions way back in the day, that have kept me on this path, and to having helped as many families as I have over the years. It's wonderful.
And when most business owners create something like you said, over 20 years ago, you made the decision to dive into it. Like, what would you tell young Chris back then, like from where you are today, of like what would be a message that you would say to him, like to keep going whenever things are hard?
Oh wow, that's a good one. Yeah, so something that I would say, you always got to end the day on a positive note, So it's like, if anything negative, creeps up, occurs, the bond market's getting crushed, driving rates up, or lose a loan to a builder because they're giving like $30,000 in incentives, and no other lender can touch it, but you've been working with that client for a couple of months and they started out looking at existing homes and then went new construction. You're like, darn, anything like that, occurs. I don't let that define my day, I'll make a call to you or to a friend or a past client or, and just end on a high. And I think if I had started doing that 23 years ago, that I'd be a lot farther along than I am today, honestly. So it's about attitude, and surrounding yourself with the right people. And, uh, and that's what I do today. And that's what I've done for many years. And I think it's attributed largely to my success on a daily basis. So,
That's great. And, that's one of the things like when I learned, like, cause when I started in this industry and a lot of people like the thought of like being in sales isn't necessarily the first thought you think of as a real estate agent. Does that
right.
make sense?
Sure.
And so, picking up the phone or making those outreaches or connecting with the vendor that you didn't know before,
Hmm.
networking, sometimes that's daunting, right?
Right.
And so I love what you said, like finishing the day. But if you're in the industry of, sales or you have to, commission based or anything like that, I would encourage to start with that positive phone call. Like maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your,
Hmm.
someone in your family that's been supportive. Like start the day with that positive outlook as well. And then you can just fill the middle with, the chaos, right?
That's right. That's right. You got to be the hammer all day long from sun up to sundown. If you ever turn into the nail, you got to get back to being the hammer quick. So
Absolutely. So what are your what's the insider baseball about what's going to happen in 2026 for the real estate market and for lending?
goodness. So being an eternal optimist, I'm going to say that interest rates are going to drop, down into at least the mid fours or so, maybe high fours. But it will it happen? Could, might, but for those people that are on the fence waiting to sell to buy, don't wait for that because I mean interest rates are about the same now that they were a couple of years ago, and we just don't know what rates are going to do. But one thing's for certain is if you purchase a home now or here in the near future and rates drop, we can refinance your loan for little to no cost. And so, remember it's the old, people say it's cliche, but I mean, marry the home, date the rate. Get out there and stop putting off, making that move and just get out there and do some home shopping and buy another home. Call Tisha and call me, and we're going to help you out. But in all seriousness, I mean, I think the interest rates are going to come down into the fours. I think it's only a matter of time. And I'm optimistic, and I'm not holding my breath, but I'm optimistic we're going to see that happen. And I think home sales are going to pick up too. I think we're going to see inventory diminish, and I think we're going to see it teeter on a seller's market, at some point next year. So for all you buyers out there, I mean, it's been a buyer's market for quite some time, but I don't think that's going to last forever. I know it's not because it's cyclical, and it's just in waves, and it's 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 time for that rebound, and it's going to happen. The market's going to correct itself, and we're going to see a lot more buyers entering the market, a lot more competition. It's going to drive home prices up, and you're going to see less and less inventory out there. So the sooner you get out there home shopping, the better.
Yeah, that's really great insight. And I was just talking to some people and it's just like it really does matter where you are.
Hmm.
Because if you're in Tomball, if you're in Cypress, if you're in Katy, if you're in the outskirts of Houston, those markets are very different from your rural
That's right.
county cities, like things like that. So don't just watch the news and assume that's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
What, if there's a certain town right outside of Houston, average days on market's about 31, but Brenham as of yesterday was like 75.
Hmm.
And the amount of inventory that's available just in the city of Brenham is bananas.
Right.
And so, but that's not the same situation over in those like outskirts of Houston.
Hmm.
So, for those people that are thinking of like, hey, I want to sell my home in the city, relocate out to a rural area, like just make sure, like before you do contingencies, before you make any major moves, that you have a really thorough overview of what is taking place in your market.
That's right. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So we just always love having you on. So excited that you like are on a new adventure and like we get to chime in and kind of see how things are going. Always love sending business your way. So thank you so much. Before the Thanksgiving holiday, thank you for being just a valued business to business
Absolutely.
relationship.
I value our relationship and I appreciate everybody you send our way. And we just love working together and just can't wait to help more and more families together over the
Absolutely.
years. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it so
Absolutely.
much.
Great. And so, what is your website if people want to reach out to you?
So it's loan approvals plural 247.com.
Excellent.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And if you have any questions for us, maybe you're on the fence and you're wanting to take advantage of what Chris and I have discussed today, you can find us at texastrioteam.com. Take care and keep living your best life.